President Donald Trump is suggesting that if Israel is incapable of waging war in southern Lebanon without the mass killing of civilians, perhaps a former al-Qaeda leader should take over the task. Let's roll C2 here.
I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they'll do a better job of doing it.
The result in Israel, across the political spectrum and the media class, has been one of deep struggle. Let's roll a little bit of the John Podhoretz podcast.
Trump is now saying Bibi is indiscriminately murdering Lebanese, but the Iranians are nice and they only want to help their country.
The people who just tried to shoot down and kill two of our pilots last week.
Yeah, and of course, who tried to assassinate him.
Yeah.
Tried to assassinate John Bolton. Tried to.
What's going on?
So I'm telling you what's going on. What's going on is something happened and he decided that he went the wrong way and he is ratcheting himself in the other direction. And it's almost as though when he was without restraint in the rhetoric that he was using, the militaristic rhetoric he was using, I only want unconditional surrender. I'm going to bomb your civilization. Da-da-da-da-da. Once he turns tail, suddenly Iran's nice, Qatar is brave, another thing that he said today, and you will always be my friend, and you were so brave and so wonderful in these talks, and Israel is the bad guy. So, which is where he's going. Like this is the opening this weekend. He went from Bibi is, what the F are you doing? And you're without judgment. And now it's you're blowing up apartment buildings in Beirut. And the Iranians are really nice.
Wait, did you hear any music there? Almost felt like I heard some music there. In any event,
Ryan had a vision.
The meltdown unfolded at MSNBC as well. It wasn't confined just to the podcast spaces. Let's roll the heartbreak from Tom Nichols here at C6.
How you characterize this kind of settlement other than the Iranians got what they wanted, the Americans didn't, and that's where we're going from here.
And then, Hagar, what does that mean for the Lebanese?
Yeah, it's a disaster, actually, in so many ways. So Tom mentioned here that the Israelis are now being held back. And it sounds, a lot of people, it sounds like a ceasefire would be a good thing, right? Normally that sounds like something you'd want in Lebanon or anywhere. But the fact is that if we focus on Lebanon specifically, it's not there's no deal.
Over on Twitter and Telegram and Facebook, it's continuing apace. Put up C3 for some instructive elements of this one. Here's one. Everyone, and I mean everyone in Israel, feels a profound sense of betrayal today. From all across the political spectrum and from every walk of life. Everyone. History proves, says Michael Oren, the former ambassador to Washington, Israel has no choice but to risk an open confrontation with Trump. An apology from your American Jewish parents ran in the Times of Israel. We are here, among other things, to defend you too. In the end, this is your real home. She's addressing Witkoff and Kushner, whose real home is the United States of America. This is weird. And we are guarding it for you and for your future generations. And you turn your backs on us like this? Simply losers. Unfortunately, she goes, and we were wrong. We became comfortable. And over the past 2 decades, we fell asleep at the wheel. We missed the signs, and we owe you an apology. Israel was winning war after war, building up its economy, growing in Torah and mitzvot. At the same time, the West, especially America and Europe, was falling into an abyss of immorality and godlessness. Jerusalem Post had, quote, sold their brothers, Israeli right-wing figures brand Witkoff, Kushner as losers over Iran deal. Kushner and Witkoff really coming in for some serious abuse here.
It's tough. It's tough to be them.
Laura Loomer not taking it well. She watched a clip of the World Cup. Iran, after scoring an equalizer, one of their players did the old pistol thing to the ground and to the crowd. Ooh,
and
she
Loomer
did not
said,
take that well.
Loomer replied?
Loomer, insane that these freaks are allowed to come to the U.S. By the way, they detained the guy who scored the goal for like 7 hours. and he still scored. And they were not even letting the Iranians sleep here. Like they have to fly in and fly immediately back out.
But Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are negotiating with them simultaneously. And we're cutting a deal with them, $300 billion of economic development, unfreezing assets, lifting sanctions, and you can see why. The tears are flowing, no question about it. You know, my question is really the rallying around Trump that some of his biggest critics in the last 24 hours have done since February. You look at that, and you just ask, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? Were you so confident that Donald Trump was going to do the full Netanyahu? And I mean, you and I obviously still have criticisms of what Trump is doing. It's not as though we're like, oh man, Donald Trump, such a realist. He's really giving the finger to the neoconservatives. No, he did the war. He did the war. But if you're Donald Trump, you're probably looking at Mark Levin now and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have listened to you.
Yes, a lot. You're hearing that a lot in the Israeli political class, that Netanyahu sold Trump a bridge.
Yeah.
Trump bought it, and that he's not going to be able to sell Trump any more bridges, and that he's really burned that bridge. In fact, we can put up C4. Amit Siegel, who's the journalist who was closest to President Trump. To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, posted in Hebrew, which Sagar helpfully translated here.
Claude helped Sagar.
Claude helped Sagar translate, of course. I mean, I'm not claiming Sagar speaks Hebrew. Finding that the support for Trump is collapsing. Within 3 weeks, he went from what? Plus basically 25 minus 25, give or take a few. Like an absolutely incredible turnaround. Trump hates it when people don't like him.
Yeah.
So as J.D. Vance shares this information with him, I think Trump's position is probably just going to harden on this question. I don't think this is going to soften him. Like, he likes people who like him, dislikes people who dislike him. It's pretty much that simple.
Right.
He was fantasizing recently about maybe he'd run for a prime minister in Israel because he has 99% approval rating over there. That was several weeks ago. I think that his campaign is much less tenable at this point. If he wanted to run. Now, this has actual, I think, practical, real-world implications here, because the domestic politics now inside Israel are going to push not just Netanyahu but other candidates for prime minister to try to draw daylight between themselves and the United States. For decades, the way that you became prime minister in Israel was to say, I am the most loyal to the president likes me the most, and so I will forge the best relationship with the United States. Like, that was the thing that you would argue. And then you'd have your positions for and against the different domestic policies. But when it came to the foreign policy, the idea was, I am the one that can build the relationship with the United States. And Netanyahu would always say, just leave the Americans to me. I know how to work the Americans.
Yeah.
Now, Netanyahu is more popular than Trump. And Netanyahu is not very popular. So Netanyahu is incentivized to say, I am the one who will stand up to Trump. Then what does he have to do? He has to do something. Does he continue the war in Lebanon? Does he refuse to withdraw troops?
Yeah.
And then what does Trump do?
Right.
Because if Iran says, well, then that's over our red line, we're attacking Israel, does Trump, now that Netanyahu is fully broken with him, does Trump attack Iran on Netanyahu's behalf if he's out campaigning against him? Or does Israel now have to wage a war against Iran by itself? With its, as we reported, they're down to double-digit ballistic missile interceptors. They rely on the U.S. Navy's ballistic missile interceptors. And in order to carry out their bombing runs on Iran, they need refueling help from the U.S. Recently, when they struck Iran, if you notice, they did it from western Iraq because they couldn't refuel. That's much more expensive. You're using expensive munitions. The munitions have a lower payload because they have to travel then much further. If you can just fly right over top with a gigantic B-52 and just B-2 and just drop the heaviest stuff you've got, boom, that's going to have the most impact. if you have to fire a missile from Western Iraq from a plane that has to then turn around and go home, it's easier to intercept, it's less accurate, and it's going to have a lower payload. So that's what Israel's left in its war against Iran. Iran's still sitting with a bunch of its hypersonic ballistic missiles, and Israel's depleted. But like I said, the domestic politics push Netanyahu in that direction, but it's disastrous to his foreign policy. Like, he really screwed himself.
And some of this is yet to be determined because we don't know. We've covered this over the course of the show today. Like, we don't know what happens in the next 60 days. We don't know if Trump actually does end up capitulating somewhat to Netanyahu. Things resume in Lebanon. It all falls apart, but it's just less high profile, similar to what's happened in Gaza. He's able to get the deal, say he got the deal. He's trumpeted peace deals around the world that don't actually totally materialize. It's just the point that he's able to say, I orchestrated X, Y, and Z. And that's what he wants to do. And do I think that he wants to have some long-term solution to the problem? Is that his ideal? Probably. But does he really care at the end of the day if that turns out to crumble? If he's also able to say, I did this, I brought people to the table, they had all the incentives, and they just didn't want to make a deal. That's also probably something he's satisfied with at the end of the day. Less satisfied, of course, than being able to be remembered as the president who brought peace to the Middle East, or whatever he thinks that his vision of peace in the Middle East looks like, Mara Gaza, whatever that was or is, actually, because that seems to still be the plan. Hard to know. But anyway, all this is to say, you look at how people have been treating Trump, who are supporters of the robust Israeli-American alliance over the last couple of months. Like, he is the hero, the visionary. All of his haters are they are disintegrating the coalition. They're being selfish. The pushback is anti-Trump. And now some of these same people are doing pushback and saying that Trump is abandoning Israel. They're furious. You heard Pedoritz and Eli Lake, who, by the way, we invited to come on the show today. We will keep asking him to come on because—
My cousin Eli.
Yeah, distant by marriage, I think, right? Yeah. And so we want to bring somebody on who's going to make this—
My cousin won't even come on the program.
Argument.
Come on, Eli.
And so we'll keep trying to make that happen. But they're furious that Trump said Syria might be a better— Syria might have a better— or might be a better protector of Lebanon, or a guarantor of peace to some extent in Lebanon than Israel. That is infuriating. Trump's biggest
the Al
supporters.
Qaeda guy cares more about civilian casualties.
It's a realist perspective, though, right? Like, he's saying, here you have a country that is able to relate to this country. We can say it's dumb, but like, these are the same people who were saying Trump was a genius for the last 2 months. So which is it? Also,
Syria is not going to do this, by the way, because Syria would rather have Israel fighting Hezbollah in southern Lebanon than bombing Damascus. And they continue to occupy Golan Heights and a lot of area north of that. They're pushing like very close to Damascus. Like, so the second that al-Shara went in and like took care of Hezbollah, which of course they can't remotely do, but let's say they did, then Israel would just start bombing Damascus. So like, it's interesting that even though Assad and al-Shara are completely ideologically different, and we're at war with each other, and that Israel, saw al-Shara coming in as advantageous compared to Assad because Assad was part of the axis of resistance, he has the same geostrategic logic as Assad did to kind of allow either, and Maz has been pointing this out at Dropside, either by neglect or by design, the supply lines between Iran and Hezbollah seem intact. Yeah. Because like you're seeing drone technology and other military equipment appearing in southern Lebanon that Iran only recently developed, which means it's getting from Iran somehow over to southern Lebanon. And the whole point of overthrowing Assad for Israel was to cut off that supply line. But they then so weakened Syria that even if they wanted to, they can't. Like, Assad controls like Idlib and Damascus, basically.
And stop projecting your ideological—
al-Shara, not Assad.
Yeah, stop projecting your ideological wishes onto Trump, because he's going to reflect them temporarily at any given point and then reflect your opponent temporarily at any given point because he's not a hardened ideologue. So anytime you're claiming some big ideological victory with Trump, you're taking a risk because you're going to have egg on your face in all likelihood 3 weeks later. Even people now who are saying Trump is giving Israel the middle finger will have egg on their face at some point, again, because he's going to do something nice to Netanyahu. The man is not a hardened ideologue. He is totally doing what he thinks is pragmatic at any given point, and that logic can often be hard to follow. But if you're going to start mocking people for being wrong about Trump and being spurned by Trump, you will also end up being mocked and spurned by Trump.
Last thing, because we got to get moving. What is this doing to the Republican coalition? Like, is Tucker kind of coming out on top here, or is the break between Trump and the Tucker world so personal that even if they wind up on the same side again, it can't be repaired? Like, what's the status here?
I mean, some of the same people we were just talking about were furious that J.D. Vance even went on Megyn Kelly's show yesterday.
Right.
Furious.
Well, they said it would be
about
dangerous even for him to do that.
Furious.
Right.
Furious about the fact that he sat down with somebody who has been
books.
critical. Yeah, man's got to sell books. Ryan knows the grind. Critical of this war. And one of the things that JD said to Megyn yesterday is that he told Trump he was going on the show, and Trump said, absolutely, I love that JD said he'll say nice things about you when you agree with him, and he'll say bad things about you when you don't agree with him. That's just who he is. And so
Who's talking about Tucker?
He's talking about the president.
Oh,
and
okay.
so you don't understand that at this point, then you just are blind to the last 10 years of Trump. Megyn was like, yeah, I don't mind it. Because if you are watching Trump closely, you kind of understand that's how this works. So I don't know. I think Tucker is so totally black-pilled by the war, which is something JD criticized people for being, quote, black-pilled, not Tucker by name, but being black-pilled by the fact that the war was launched in the first place. I think there's some people who are just off the bandwagon because of that. I don't think Massey gets back in the coalition or Tucker gets back in the coalition. I think there's a thaw probably in some of these relationships. Even the fact that JD did go on Megyn's show yesterday says he's willing to take some of the questions and talk to some of the people who have been critical of the administration. So I don't think it's a complete disaster for the mega coalition in terms of like some people sticking around. But I also think just the decision to launch the war in and of itself was a bridge that was burned with a lot of people, period. And you're not going to be able to reconstruct that.
All right, we've got new indictments in Minnesota. Let's get to those.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.